lovely combination bookstore, cafe, plant shop, flower shop with, of course, dragons. Since real dragons are remarkably difficult to find, I decided to make a paper version. Initially, I thought I would just make a paper box with, windows and little things drawn on the walls. Then I realized I could make it way more complicated, and I decided to go that route. I made a first prototype from my digital sketch, and you can tell it's a prototype because I had to cut off pieces and stick them back on the other way since they were backwards. I also realized the roof looks ridiculous at this angle, so back to the digital drawing board for prototype number 2, which you can see is only half colored because I got impatient. A little more tinkering with the sketch, a quick trip through the printer, and here we are. Let's see if it goes together. What could possibly go wrong? I started off by cutting out the pieces, since that seemed like a reasonable first step, and they'd be hard to glue together otherwise. Since I wanted to be able to print this, and have you be able to print it too, the front of the shop has the outside of the sidewalls, and the back of the shop has the inside of the sidewalls, so the whole thing looked all finished, and there aren't any weird blank sections when you put it all together. Once everything was cut out, it was time to score all the pieces, and then fold them again with the bone folder. Look how pretty. And then nice and quick on that one. Wait, nope, come back. There we go. And then there we go. Almost done. We're so close. No, not really, but we're further along than we were 10 minutes ago. Next, you color all the edges black so it looks all neat and tidy. And then, because it's not a very good shop without some things in it, I made flat things for the things to sit on, because things need to be displayed in a shop, otherwise how would the shoppers shop for things? Flat surfaces inevitably accumulate items, so I hoped if I made some shelves and little counters, charming miniature items would magically appear on those nice flat surfaces. Up next, once again, was of course scoring all the fold lines, which is remarkably easier to do if you use a ruler. Then you can get all these nice little straight lines. And then I glued the front counter behind the front window, and it's easy to spread the glue using extra cardstock from the scrap pieces, because then you're not having to clean a paintbrush afterwards. I have never found a good way to get glue out of a paintbrush. I learned recently that these little half-height walls are called pony walls, and I think that is the cutest thing ever, because it's a pony and so it's short. I just love that. But this is what the middle counter looks like, and you can see all the holes in the top, and those are so that we can put things in the holes to decorate the shop. And the reason we're not just gluing things onto the counters, which would be objectively faster than cutting all these little bitty holes and then all the little tabs and the little items, is so that you can redecorate, but we will get to that later. Here I'm making some teeny tiny little shelves to go on the walls, and I must admit when I drew this digitally it was a lot easier because I could zoom in. These are a little fussy to make. Okay, they're a lot fussy to make, but they look really cute once they're glued on. So the side walls kind of reach around the back and give the shelf a little hug, so it looks more believably 3D, as if the rest of this looks believably 3D, but I don't know. I had to have sidewalls on these shelves, and magically here's the rest of them, because the little snap trick works great in videos, but not as well in real life. And then now it's time to glue the front and the back together, and you can do that in paper, but not in real life. You have to use nails when you're building a house in real life. You can't just use glue. It's not a particularly excellent building without a roof, so let's make that next. I went back and forth on whether the little side pieces should be colored like the exterior walls or colored like the roof, and after contemplating that for a truly excessive period of time, I decided to color it like the walls. I added a little beam on the back, which you'll see in a second, so that the side bits don't stick out like little wings, because then the shop would be an airplane, and that is not what we are building today. This way the roof is removable for reasons which will become apparent in a moment. I promise, we're getting to the things soon, but first we've got to add a floor. This is my favorite piece of the whole shop to make since it's so easy to cut out. Ta-da! Floor. It works like a trapdoor, although not one with like a wrong liver cronk leading down to a pit of crocodiles in case of rude customers. Maybe we'll put that in the next video. The actual reason for this bendy floor is so that we can store extra items under the counter and retrieve them easily when we want to rearrange the shop. You know you put random crap on your floor when you don't know what to do with it, so don't judge my storage solution here. Next, let's build a little flower stand to sit outside the shop and look super cute. Do flowers still look cute to people who are allergic? I gotta think it takes away a little bit from the enjoyment if you start sniffling and sneezing, but flowers are pretty. Out of all of the pieces that make up the shop, this flower stand took the most prototypes by far. But it sure does look nice and flower standy in the end, so I think it was worth it. And then you have to cut out all the bouquets and color the edges, and then you put all the bouquets in the thing, and then you have to widen the holes because you cut them too narrow and didn't check before you glued everything together. But it looks really cute with all the flowers in there, so we'll call it a win at the end. Pop that in front of the shop, and then... No, it's not quite time for the decorations yet. First, people won't know it's a flower book plant pastry magic shop without a sign to tell them. They might just think it's a flower book plant pastry shop, or a flower pastry magic shop. You get it. So let's add a little tavern sign with a book on it so they know everything they'll find in the shop. Now, we're almost at the things, I promise. We just need a little dude. I decided on a raccoon because I'm doing the drawing. I like raccoons, and no one can stop me. Is putting a raccoon in charge of a pastry shop a bad idea? Probably, but it's their cafe, so it's not my problem if they eat all the pastries. Not my monkeys, not my circus and all that. Or maybe we should say not my raccoon, not my pastry shop. But now, in a wildly expected turn of events, miniature magical things have not appeared on my flat things. The horror. Conveniently, though, I have a bunch of miniature magical things right here. We just have to free them from paper jail. I will spare you a lengthy montage of me cutting and coloring the edges on every single item, so ta-da, here we are. Behold, things to go on our flat things. If you want to be really technical about it, these things are also flat, but let's not focus on that. Instead, let's focus on the fact that we can now decorate. Behold, the nifty removable roof totally came in handy here. Imagine that. I think removable roofs would make moving a lot easier, although there would be other logistical challenges involved. We'll pop the proprietor behind the counter for easy access to all of the magically delicious treats. Then we will decorate the shop item by item. The items can be mixed, matched, rearranged, and otherwise used however you'd like to decorate the shop. And whenever you want to get out of something, you can just say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I have to rearrange my shop." And people will be like, "Oh, you have a shop?" And you'll be like, "Yeah, the shopkeeper's a raccoon." And they'll be like, "Whoa, I have questions, but I'm not sure I really want to ask them." And that's the best kind of conversation. There are a ton of items, and then you can mix and match and add your own by just adding a little tab on the bottom. Now I'll take the leftover items and dump them in a haphazard pile on the floor until I'm ready to redecorate again. And then I will put the roof on, and you thought we were done. We're not. First, we're going to put in fairy lights, because there's nothing more whimsical than fairy lights. So first, open your trapdoor, remove all the items, cut a hole in the back of the shop, put the fairy lights in the shop, close the shop, and then for the final reveal, wait, no, the lights, I should really not use 10-year-old lights for this project. Come on, stay lit, we're almost there. Yes, okay, here is the final reveal of your cozy fantasy shop. You don't technically have to add the lights, it really does look super cute without, but they do add a lot of whimsy to the whole thing. If you would like to make your own shop, the colored and line art versions of this are available as a digital download on my site, and they're included on my Patreon if you would like monthly digital download projects, because what is more whimsical than monthly projects you get to do? And I'll put the link for both of those down below, and let me know in the comments what craft project we should make next. And then for your viewing enjoyment, I took this on a hike 5 miles into the woods before realizing that handheld cameras don't have the same image stabilization that iPhones do, so I got some Blair Witch footage for you instead of whimsical waterfall footage. But here you go, and these are the photos because those turned out better. I hope you enjoyed watching. Please let me know what you would like to see next.